Thank you very much. Senator Coates.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You did a great recruiting job for this session here. I know there were some issues with the other one. We all had conflicts, but obviously this issue is something of...
I think we almost have everyone here. It's a very good showing for some very good witnesses.
It's a tribute to your advising us of what our priorities ought to be. So
thank you.
Both Dr. Kugler and Mr. Norquist made compelling arguments for immigration. We're all the product of that in time. I'm the son of an immigrant. Unfortunately, Mr. Norquist turned out to be both a lawyer and a senator, and apparently that doesn't put me in very high status. But having
your children might work out.
They might. Thanks to their mother, they might do that. I don't think there's any difference here. I would think, or even in the Congress, relative to the importance of immigration to this country and the continued importance for ever more immigration to this country. The question is, though, how do we deal with illegal immigration to this country? And neither one of you distinguished between legal and illegal. Now, maybe Dr. Kugler, all the facts and statistics and numbers that you threw out relative to the Fortune 500 and the accomplishments of immigrants, but was there a distinction between the current situation between legal and illegal immigrants in those numbers?
It's very hard to distinguish in those numbers between the two, but I can tell you that we know that some of these illegals are included in there. Some undocumented workers are included among the job creators, among the self-employed, certainly among the consumers and among the workers.
Understand that, but you would agree that this is, you can't just simply come up with a number of the Fortune 500 without distinguishing. Because
no, I don't think they would be included in the Fortune 500, but they're included certainly among the workers, they're included among the self-employed, they're included among the consumers. I think what is important to understand...
Excuse me, can I say something here? I guess I have very limited time. I'm not disputing the fact that those who have come here illegal, some have made great contributions to this country. The question is, how do we go forward? I was here in 1986. I supported Ronald Reagan's immigration policy. At that time, we had 3 million illegals. We were promised at the time that this would put an end to illegal, it would strengthen the legal, and now we have 13+ million. It didn't do the job. How do we know 10 years from now, 5 years from now, that we'll be faced with, say, 23 illegal immigrants in this country?
Yes, so let me answer the question.
Let me finish the question. And shouldn't we have a policy in place that finally addresses this issue?
Certainly. So let me answer the question. First of all, let me say that if there are any costs to immigration, they probably come from the illegal status that some of these immigrants have. As far as I know, the numbers tell us that there are 11 million. I haven't seen the 13 million that you mentioned. I have seen 11 million as far as the best estimates on this issue. There's certainly some costs. They may come on the fiscal side because we know that between 50 to 60% of these undocumented pay taxes. They actually don't benefit. They may have a harder time, for example, setting up new businesses. So you may not benefit as much on that end from this illegal immigration. But precisely, we know that providing legal status is going to help us to further benefit from these 11 million people who are already here and who would obtain legal status and would be able to gain this 25% gain that I've mentioned before, which are numbers that come from studies that were done after IRCA, after the 1986 reform.
Thank you. Ms. Norquist, a question on the heritage. My understanding is, and help me out here, before heritage became what it is now, as you described as to what it was before, I think there was a study done indicating that the number was 2.6 trillion, I believe, instead of the latest number out, 6.7 or 3 or whatever it is. What should the number be from heritage. Was that previous number a good number?
The previous number was flawed for all the same reasons. The present number is flawed. It used households instead of individuals. Or a whole series, the statisticians looked at the first one and said, I hope they'll fix this. They didn't fix it. They doubled down, and then they added costs of legal immigrants, of people who are here legally, and stick them in the 6. Educating a 5-year-old who's born in this country, who's a citizen, is not a cost of passing the Senate bill. That's going to be there.
Yeah. So the same assumptions used now
And
to
worse.
achieve this number were the same assumptions used.
Yeah, it got worse, actually, the quality of the work. On your question on legal versus illegal, look, we, in the 1970s, had a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and there was all sorts of illegal driving going on. And we didn't say, you know what we need first to do is to arrest everybody who's illegally driving over 65. We said 55 is not reasonable. The highways are built for 65, and in Montana, evidently 90. So let's get up to a reasonable speed limit and then enforce the law. And the challenge we had in '86 was they did some border enforcement, they did some amnesty, but they didn't do anything with future flows. We didn't reform the immigration policy to give us the quantity of both low-skilled and high-skilled workers, so that as soon as we hit the economy started to grow, there was no legal way to get in. It's not like there was some other way for people to get employed. We didn't have numbers. So what this legislation that the Senate's put together begins to do is deal with that third part. What about the future? How do we not end up with a whole bunch of illegal immigration in the future, the same way we ended up not having a whole bunch of illegal driving because you moved the speed limit and the immigration numbers to a reasonable number of what the American economy needs, both to grow and to help everybody who's here already.
Thank you very much.
way over my time. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we could do it on the record later, and I just